Hi, welcome to the first episode of Suddenly Groove, where we talk all about Groove funnels. And this is a quite special episode for me because, I spent the whole day, recording the first episode, and Groove funnels is in beta, and a lot of things are not working. Oftentimes, especially if you're new to the software, you need to figure out workarounds to really get the software to build the website or like your funnel. And it's not always easy. Like, I'm not the best funnel designer. I'm really good with strategic things, but it's definitely still like sometimes I wish that's why I'm still using Kartra basically. But I forced myself to build a website yesterday for my mom to build her landing page, so I can go through the whole experience that you're going through, whether you're a free user or whether you use the paid version and became a backer of GrooveFunnels. What I think, and episode is all about taking imperfect action, and I think still you need to work smart, but you definitely need to know your outcome. First I would like to address why I'm still using Kartra, because I think GrooveFunnels is the future, but Kartra is really it's the software that Mike Filsaime built in the past, and it's it costs, the starter package costs like $97 or something. It's really amazing. If you already have some kind of business, then I would highly recommend you use Kartra and just buy the lifetime version of GrooveFunnels and put it on the shelf, just as I'm doing. Except you're an affiliate and you want to generate affiliate income, then GrooveFunnels is an amazing offer because it will save a lot of people so much money down the line, and that's why I bought it as well. But about this podcast, today I spent really the whole day thinking about what kind of software should I use. Should I use one of the softwares I'm giving away in my webinar, that I'm using to take all my notes, which comes with the screen capture feature, or should I use Camtasia to record, which I decided upon? And then what should the process be? What should the topics be? Where should I host the webcast? Which podcast software should I use? So many different things that came to my mind, and I think it's really important that you know the outcome. For me, it's really about documenting my journey as I go through, because my main hub basically is my website, findfocus.net. But this podcast is really about, for me, taking imperfect action and then see what comes out of this. And this really reminds me of one thing that I've heard Brendon Burchard said, and it's one thing that he taught in one of his courses, which was the one page ATM machine or something. And this is about building really simple funnels. And you might have seen this if you're a long-term GrooveFunnels member with Mike Filsaime. When they started out, basically Mike just had a really simple video sales letter on his page with a button below to get beta access and become a backer of GrooveFunnels. And since then, they really refined the process and they got better and better and better. And this is if you decide to use GrooveFunnels already, even though there are bugs, then you have to be aware of this. And I think this also presents a great opportunity for you and for me, and especially if you're starting out, if you never built a funnel, because it's okay to be imperfect. This podcast is not perfect, and that's why I'm recording it. And I think especially if you're in affiliate marketing or in online marketing, a lot is really about being authentic, and that's what people feel about my blog posts, about the videos that I put on. And hopefully you feel the same with this podcast, because in the end, what separates you and what will make you successful in the long term, if you want to build a full-time income with GrooveFunnels, is that you need to become an expert. There's absolutely no way around it, and to become an expert, you need to put in the reps, and that's what you will find me doing with this podcast as well, because I have no tight script. script here. English is not my native language, and I'm just trying to give you an example that you can follow. And as I said, it's really about working smart because FindFocus is my main hub, but this is really for me to improve my ability to speak freely, to create like content at the speed of thought, as Mike Filsaime called it. And eventually I will become really good at podcasting as well and creating this kind of content. But in the beginning, there's a saying, like, in the beginning you will suck, and then you will suck less the more reps you put in, and at sometime you will actually become really good. And it's really about the process. So when you're starting out, there's so much things that you can do, that you should do, and especially like that's why I believe affiliate marketing and GrooveFunnels is such a great way to get started, because other people take care of the sales message, they take care of the sales letter and all the technical stuff, and in the end what you only need to do is to connect a great product with the people who need this product. And that's why like affiliate marketing is some kind of a testing ground before you can ship your own products, create your own products, because it's like, let's face it, like it's hard to build an online course, to sell an online course. I did a webinar last week and I had roughly 60 people on there, and none bought my course, which is called Instant Expert Profits. But I believe so much in this in this training, which I got great feedback for, and in the product that I'm creating, that I will continue no matter what. But it's really about you need to understand your marketing strategy and your focus. For example, I also consulted with somebody who had a physical product, and for him it's like a little bit slightly different approach. But in the end, like, he was just relying on his existing customers, but he also needs to become an expert. And this is really only happening if you put yourself out there like I'm doing right now. And then you still want to focus on one main lead generation tool. And in the beginning, I think the best tool to start with is Facebook, because it's so easy to hit people up, start messenger conversations with them, and ask about their needs, because it does not make any sense to have the best medicine in the world for somebody who's not ill. And that's it. It just does not make sense. So my strategy is pretty simple. Like, I try to connect with you. I try to get you to subscribe to my email list. Provide amazing value there, and then from time to time recommend some products that I really believe in, and also show you what I do with GrooveFunnels and how I build my business. And in the end, I'm really looking forward to teaching you how to become an expert as well, whether you're listening to this free podcast or you end up signing up for my Instant Expert Profits course, where I go more into detail about like why I think interview virtual summits are still like one of the best ways to do this, but with the with something a switch or something that with an angle that is not currently used in the market, let's put it like this. And in the end, just as you will see me with this podcast, it's really about going from version 1.0 to version 3.0 as fast as possible. And this only happens if you really put in the reps. And for this, I highly recommend that you create checklists, that you have a central place where you store this checklist. And then as you go through producing your content, at some point you will be so good that that you can spend 80 to 90% producing content, putting yourself out there, becoming the expert, and then the rest of the time is just like managing stuff, uploading the things to the podcast platform, to YouTube, wherever you're watching this and or listening to this. But this is primarily really a podcast. And for example, like in the past, I used a software tool called Anchor FM to host my podcast, which makes it really easy, but there's some drawbacks as well. But it really depends, as I said, what kind of goal you have with your podcast, with your primary tool that you want to use. And I highly recommend that you get good with this. Like, I will spend a little bit more time in the future on Facebook as well, because that's my goal, like to have the central hub, the GrooveFunnels unofficial group there, to find topics for this podcast that I can not only answer for you specifically in the Facebook group, but also talk about a little bit to give these questions some more context. And that's what I'm really trying to do with this podcast. So if you're not a part of my Facebook group, I would like to join you there. It's I think facebook.com/group/GrooveFunnels. Pretty straightforward there as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the group and to get this group active again, just like I do with this podcast. And have a great day and stay safe.